All right, think about this for a second. You're playing the world's biggest, most high-stakes game of Tetris, but instead of little blocks, you're stacking thousands of tons of stuff. Cars, shipping containers, giant machinery. And your game board? It's a massive ship, and it's pitching and rolling on the open ocean. So how do you make absolutely sure nothing moves an inch? Well, it turns out there's a rule book for that, and we're going to unpack it.
You know, almost every single thing in the room with you right now, your phone, your TV, your coffee mug, it probably got to you thanks to this absolutely colossal global shipping industry. It's this incredibly complex dance of logistics and pure engineering. And to keep that dance from turning into total chaos, the world relies on one main authority, the International Maritime Organization, or the IMO. But here's the thing, even with all the rules in the world, the ocean doesn't really play nice. The forces at play on a ship in a big storm are just immense. We're talking forces that can turn tons of carefully secured cargo into an unstoppable battering ram.
So that's the real question, isn't it? When a ship is getting tossed around in violent seas, rolling maybe 30 degrees to one side, what's the actual difference between a safe trip and a complete disaster? What is holding all that stuff in place?
Well, the answer lies in this really meticulous system. So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the rulebook itself. Then, we'll get into the actual nuts and bolts, the tools of the trade. After that, we'll see how it all comes together for some really tricky cargo. And finally, we'll talk about the most important piece of the puzzle, keeping the crew safe. The solution to all this potential chaos is a document you'll find on the bridge of pretty much every cargo ship sailing today. It's called the Cargo Securing Manual, and it's not just a set of friendly guidelines, it's basically the ship's legally required operational Bible.
And the power behind this manual comes from the IMO, which is the United Nations' own agency in charge of all things shipping. So when they create a standard, it's not just a suggestion, it carries the weight of international law. This is a global mandate.
So what is this thing exactly? The Cargo Securing Manual, or CSM, is actually a unique document. It's tailored and approved for one and only one specific ship. It details every single piece of securing equipment on board and gives precise, step-by-step instructions on how to use it all to lock down cargo against the forces of nature.
And you better believe it matters. When these procedures fail, the results can be just catastrophic. We're talking entire stacks of containers toppling over like dominoes, polluting the ocean and creating incredible danger for the crew. That's why the official IMO circular says it right there in black and white. This isn't just about providing a few dents. This is about the safety of the ship, the cargo, and most importantly, the people on board.
Okay, so the manual gives the instructions, but what are the actual tools? Let's dig into the hardware that's actually doing all the heavy lifting out there.
Basically, the gear falls into two main buckets. First, you've got your fixed devices. These are the super strong points that are built right into the ship's structure itself. Things like pad eyes welded straight to the deck. Then you have the portable devices, all the chains, wires, and tensioners that you bring in to lash a specific piece of cargo to those fixed points.
Now, every single one of these items, from the smallest little clip to the heaviest chain, has one critical number tied to it. It's called the maximum securing load, or MSL. And to put it simply, that's its breaking point. It's the absolute maximum force it can take before it fails. And this is not a guess, it's a scientifically proven fact.
And the manual, it has to document this with unbelievable detail. For every single type of lashing, bar, or tensioner, the manual lists who made it, what it's made of, how to identify it, and the certified test results proving its MSL. It's like a complete biography for every single piece of equipment.
So we know that tools are strong, that's for sure. But, knowing the strength of your gear is one thing. Applying it correctly is a whole other ballgame, especially when cargo comes in literally all shapes and sizes. So, the manual basically splits the world into two types of cargo. You've got your standardized cargo, like shipping containers. That's the easy stuff. They fit into pre-designed systems just like puzzle pieces. But then there's non-standardized cargo. That's everything else. A yacht, a giant roll of paper, a military vehicle. Each one requires a completely custom securing plan for every single voyage.
And locking down these unique items is a total masterclass in physics. A ship's officer has to calculate the exact forces that piece of cargo is going to experience based on where it sits on the ship. Then, using those MSL values from the manual, they figure out the right gear and the precise number, angle, and tension of the lashings needed to counteract those forces. It's pure science.
But, all these complex calculations and heavy equipment mean absolutely nothing if the people doing the actual work aren't safe. And that's why the manual has evolved to include a critical section that's focused entirely on protecting the crew.
It's called the Cargo Safe Access Plan, or CSAP for short, and it's basically a detailed safety blueprint of the ship's working areas. It specifies everything you can think of, from the location of walkways and ladders to making sure there's proper lighting and clear emergency exit routes. It's safety you can see and touch. This whole plan recognizes a simple truth. Securing cargo is a dangerous, physically demanding job, and it's often done in terrible weather on a deck that won't stop moving. The CSAP is designed to give the crew the safest possible environment to do that work, whether they're tightening a lashing or just making their rounds in the middle of a voyage.
So the next time you see a giant container ship on the horizon, remember this manual. It's a book full of rules, physics, and incredibly detailed plans, all designed to make sure that this global game of Tetris is played as safely as possible. It's this hidden system of order on the often chaotic high seas. It kind of makes you wonder, what other invisible rulebooks are out there, quietly keeping our world running?